How many of you have ever stood at the edge of a new year, a new month, or even a new week, gripping a list of goals in your hands, convinced that this time would be different? You wrote down the visions, you made the declarations, you even told a few friends for accountability. But somewhere between day 1 and day 30, the fire fizzled, the gym visits became sporadic, the Bible reading plan fell behind, the business idea stayed in your notes app, and before you knew it, you were right back where you started, frustrated, disappointed, and secretly wondering if you're just not cut out for the life you're believing God for. Today, we are going to speak about the daily habits of becoming. Let me speak a hard truth over you right now. Your destiny is not derailed by what happens to you, but by what fails to happen in you. The gap between where you are and where you're meant to be isn't bridged by a single leap of faith, but by the daily discipline of becoming. You don't stumble into greatness. You don't accidentally wake up wise. You don't magically morph into the best version of yourself while scrolling on your phone at midnight. No, beloved, growth is a choosing 1,000 tiny yeses stacked on top of each other until they form a staircase to your promised land. Picture a farmer standing in his field at dawn, sweat already forming on his brow as he tills the same soil he worked yesterday. Someone watching might say, "Why bother? The crops won't sprout overnight." But the farmer knows something they don't. Harvest doesn't come in spite of the daily labor. It comes because of it. Every dropped seed, every pulled weed, every watered row is an act of faith whispering, "I may not see it yet, but I am preparing for what is coming." That's the mindset you must adopt. Your life is that field. Your habits are the seeds. And your faithfulness is the rain that will cause what's buried in you to break through the surface. So where do you start? Today, right now, I need you to do something radical. Define your daily non-negotiables. These are the 3-5 things you will commit to improving every single day, no matter how you feel, no matter how busy you are, no matter how small the progress seems. Maybe it's speaking life over yourself instead of criticism. Maybe it's replacing 30 minutes of social media with 30 minutes of skill building. Maybe it's choosing forgiveness over bitterness before your head hits the pillow. Whatever it is, write it down. Say it out loud. And then, here's the key, measure it. Because what gets measured gets mastered. At the end of each day, ask yourself, did I grow in this area today? Even just 1%, I can already hear the enemy whispering, "This is too slow, you should be further by now." Ignore him. Remember, a river cuts through rock not by its power, but by its persistence. You are not racing against anyone else's timeline. You are cooperating with God's process. And his process is always intentional. A scripture lays it out plainly in 2 Peter 1 verse 5. Make every effort to add to your faith goodness, and to goodness knowledge, and to knowledge self-control, and to self-control perseverance, and to perseverance godliness, and to godliness mutual affection, and to mutual affection love. Notice the language. Make every effort. Not wait for a feeling, not hope it happens, but make effort daily, relentlessly. Here's what I know about you. You're not reading this by accident. There's a hunger in your spirit that refuses to settle for stagnation any longer. So today, I'm challenging you to a 30-day experiment. For the next month, you will focus on improving just one critical area of your life every single day. And at the end of those 30 days, you won't recognize the person staring back at you in the mirror. Will it be easy? No. Will it be worth it? Absolutely. The question is, are you ready to stop wishing and start working? There's a war raging inside your head right now. You may not hear the bullets or see the smoke, but make no mistake, every thought that crosses your mind is either building you up or tearing you down. How many times this week have you found yourself trapped in a mental loop of, "I can't do this," or "Nothing ever works out for me"? How many opportunities have you talked yourself out of before you even tried? How many mornings have you woken up already defeated because yesterday's struggles followed you into today? Let me speak plainly. Your life will never outperform your mindset. You can pray for favor. You can work hard. You can have the best connections. But if your thoughts are working against you, you'll keep sabotaging your own success without even realizing it. Your mind isn't just a part of your journey. It's the control center. What you allow to take root, they will eventually manifest in your relationships, your finances, your health, and your destiny. Imagine two farmers given identical plots of land. One plants wheat, the other neglects his field, allowing weeds to grow unchecked. After a season, the first farmer reaps a harvest while the second wonders why his land produced nothing. Here's the true thing: your mind is that field. Every thought is a seed. Worry, fear, and negativity are invasive weeds that will choke out your potential if you don't actively uproot them. But faith, vision, and truth, those are seeds of greatness that, when watered daily, will produce a harvest beyond what you can imagine. So how do you shift your mindset? It starts with conscious awareness. For the next 24 hours, I challenge you to observe your thoughts like a neutral third party. Every time a negative or limiting belief surfaces, I'll never get out of debt. This relationship is doomed. I'm not smart enough. Interrupt it immediately. Speak aloud, yes, out loud. That's not my truth. God says I am more than a conqueror. I walk in wisdom. My future is bright. At first, this will feel awkward. The enemy will whisper that you're being foolish, but keep going. Truth must be louder than lies if you want to walk in freedom. Now, let's go deeper. Philippians 4 verse 8 gives us the ultimate filter for our thoughts. Whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. This isn't just a nice suggestion. It's a survival strategy. When you fix your mind on what's good, you become a magnet for goodness. When you dwell on what's possible, you attract opportunities. But when you obsess over what's broken, you'll keep finding more brokenness. The choice is yours. Here's where many miss act. They wait for their circumstances to change before they change their thinking. But that's backward. Your external world will always reflect your internal reality. Are you constantly stressed about money? Your mind is likely fixated on lack rather than provision. Struggling in your marriage, you may be rehearsing past hurts instead of speaking life over your spouse. The pattern is clear, and what you focus on expands. I need you to do something radical today. Take a notebook and write at the top of the paging, what if? Then let your pen flow with possibilities. What if this is the year every door opens for me? What if my greatest breakthroughs are closer than I think? What if the obstacles in my path are actually stepping stones? This simple exercise rewires your brain from doubt to expectation. And expectation is the breeding ground for miracles. But let's be real, this isn't about positive thinking alone. It's about powerful thinking. There's a difference. Positive thinking says, I hope things get better. Powerful thinking declares, I have everything I need to create change right now. One is passive, the other is proactive. Which one have you been operating in? I'll leave you with this. Your mind is either your greatest weapon or your heaviest chain. For too long, you've allowed thoughts that don't serve you to live rent-free in your head. Today, that stops. Every thought must answer this questioning. Does this align with the victorious life God has called me to? If not, evict it immediately. This is your moment. The battle for your future starts between your ears. Will you surrender to doubt or rise up in faith? The choice and the power is yours. You wake up with the best intentions. Today will be different. Today you'll eat right, work efficiently, and go to bed early. But by noon, you're stressed eating junk food. By mid-afternoon, you're distracted by social media. By midnight, you're exhausted but still scrolling, promising tomorrow will be better. Sound familiar? Here's the uncomfortable truth. Your life isn't built on your intentions. It's built on your habits. Those small daily choices you make almost unconsciously are silently constructing your future, brick by brick, while you're not even looking. Let me show you something powerful. Imagine two construction crews building identical houses. One crew shows up every single day, putting in focused work, measuring twice, cutting once, following the blueprint precisely. The other crew works sporadically, sometimes showing up hungover, sometimes cutting corners, sometimes not showing up at all. After a year, which house would you rather live in? Your habits are that construction crew. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, You're laying another solid brick in the foundation of your destiny. Every time you give in to laziness or instant gratification, you're creating structural weaknesses that will show up later. The prophet Isaiah asked a profound question. Why do you spend money on what is not bread and your labor on what's not satisfied? Isaiah 5:5 of Jude 2. He might as well have been talking about our modern habit crisis. Why do we pour hours into things that drain us rather than things that build us? Why do we trade eternal impact for temporary dopamine hits? The answer lies in our neurological wiring. Habits aren't just behaviors. They're neural pathways so well traveled they become automatic. The good news, you can reroute them. Let me introduce you to the 3 R's of habit transformation: recognize, replace, reinforce. First, you must recognize your habit loops. What triggers your unwanted behaviors? Is it stress that sends you to the fridge? Boredom that sends you to Instagram? Loneliness that sends you to unhealthy relationships? Then you replace them with life-giving alternatives. Maybe it's deep breathing instead of stress eating, reading a book instead of mindless scrolling, calling an encouraging friend instead of settling for toxic companionship. Finally, you'll reinforce the new habit through consistent repetition until it becomes second nature. Here's where most people fail. They try to change too much at once. They declare, starting Monday, I'm waking up at 5 a.m., working out, eating kale, and writing my book. By Wednesday, they're overwhelmed and quit altogether. Listen carefully, transformation happens in the margins, not in massive overhauls. Start with one keystone habit, a single behavior that naturally pulls other areas into alignment. For many, it's making their bed first thing in the morning, such a small act, but it sets a tone of order and accomplishment that often leads to better choices all day. For others, it's a morning prayer routine that centers their soul before the chaos begins. James Clear, author of Atomic Habits, teaches that habits are votes for the person you want to become. Every time you choose to write that page, you're voting for, I am a writer. Every time you choose the salad over fast food, you're voting for, I am healthy. The magic happens when those votes accumulate into an undeniable identity shift. You're not trying to write a book. You're a writer who writes. You're not trying to get fit. You're a healthy person who makes healthy choices. But let's address the elephant in the room. Failure. You will mess up. You'll skip a day, give into temptation, fall back into old patterns. Here's what separates those who ultimately succeed from those who stay stuck. The successful don't interpret a stumble as a full collapse. They don't say, I ate donuts today, so I might as well give up on eating healthy altogether. No, they say, that was a donut day. Tomorrow is a new day. This is the power of what I call grace-filled persistence. The Bible gives us a beautiful metaphor in Galatians 6:9. Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. Notice it doesn't say if we never slip up. It says if we do not give up. Your habits are a marathon, not a sprint. The compound effect of small, daily improvements will always outperform occasional grand gestures. So today, I challenge you to conduct a habit audit. Take out a sheet of paper and draw a line down the middle. On the left, list habits that are building you up. On the right, list habits that are tearing you down. Now circle just one habit on your right side, the one doing the most damage, and commit to replacing it for the next 30 days. Not perfectly, but persistently. Remember, Rome wasn't built in a day, but they were laying bricks every hour. Your dream life is constructed the same way, one disciplined choice at a time. The question is, what brick will you lay today? There's a story about an old man planting a fruit tree. A young passerby laughs and says, why are you planting that? It won't bear fruit for years. You might not even live to taste it. The old man doesn't pause as he pats the soil around the sapling. All my life, I've eaten fruit from trees I didn't plant, he says. Now it's my turn to plant for those coming after me. This is the revelation that changes everything. Your daily improvements aren't just about you. Every disciplined morning, every conquered temptation, every invested hour creates ripples that will outlive you. The books you read today will shape conversations you'll have a decade from now. The financial wisdom you apply now will bless generations unborn. The healing you choose today will break cycles that have held your family line captive for years. You are not just living for the present, you are planting forests in futures you may never see. But here's where we often get stuck. We underestimate the power of ordinary days. We're waiting for lightning bolts from heaven while ignoring the steady sunrise of grace available each morning. We want dramatic deliverance from our struggles, but God is whispering, I've given you daily manna, just gather it. Remember how the Israelites were fed in the wilderness. The manna couldn't be hoarded for tomorrow. It had to be collected fresh each day, Exodus 16 said. There's a profound truth here. Your spiritual, emotional, and practical sustenance comes through daily communion, not occasional consumption. Let me show you what this looks like practically. Imagine two bank accounts. One receives an $86,400 deposit every morning, but whatever isn't spent by midnight disappears. The other account allows you to save indefinitely. Which would you prioritize? Here's the catch. You already have the first account. Every day, you're gifted 400 seconds. Not one carries over. The wealthy aren't those with more time. They're those who've learned to invest it wisely. This is why your daily improvements matter so profoundly. That 30 minutes spent in scripture instead of scrolling, it's depositing eternal wisdom into your spirit. The hard conversation you initiate to heal a relationship, it's preventing future fractures. The business idea, your research instead of binge watching, it's laying tracks for provision you'll need later. Every choice is a seed, and seeds always bear fruit after their kind. Now let's talk about resistance. The moment you commit to daily growth, three enemies will arise: the tyranny of the urgent, the seduction of the trivial, and the lie of later. Urgent matters will scream for your attention while important ones whisper. Trivial distractions will dress up as necessary entertainment, and the enemy will whisper, you can start tomorrow, knowing tomorrow's regrets are built on today's delays. But you'll become a master of sacred repetition. You'll understand what David meant when he said, evening, morning, and noon I cry out in distress, and he hears my voice. Psalm 55, verse 17. Not occasional cries, structured habitual communion. You'll embrace what the ancients called the daily office. Pauses throughout the day to recalibrate your heart to heaven's frequency. Here's how to make this unstoppable. Anchor your improvements to existing routines. After you brush your teeth, existing habit, you'll speak affirmations over your day, new habit. During your lunch break, existing, you'll listen to a podcast that grows your skills, new. Before bed, existing, you'll journal one lesson learned, new. This is how ordinary people build extraordinary lives. Not through sweeping changes, but through sacred stitching of growth into the fabric of their daily rhythms. I need you to see the bigger picture. When you commit to daily improvement, you're joining a holy lineage. Daniel prayed 3 times a day, as was his custom. Daniel 6, verse 10. And it positioned him to survive the lion's den. Jesus withdrew to lonely places and prayed, Luke 5, Jude 16, as a habit, and it sustained his earthly ministry. These weren't sporadic spiritual acts. They were lifestyle patterns that created reservoirs of strength for critical moments. So today, I commission you to become a planter of legacy. When the enemy whispers, this small act doesn't matter, you'll declare, every act matters. Because I serve a God who multiplies loaves and fishes. When culture says, live for the moment, you'll whisper, I live for eternity, and my moments are seeds. Your final challenge, write a letter to your future self 5 years from now. Describe the person you're becoming through these daily improvements. Seal it, date it, then live each day as though you're writing that story in real time. Because you are. The curtain is rising on your greatest act. The audience of heaven leans forward, and the question remains, what will you do with today? Amen.